What's up, guys? Alex Chasen back here with a brand new video. Hopefully, you're having a great day, afternoon, or night, if you guys are in this world. And for today's video, I'm going to be predicting the 2020 NBA playoff seeding 1 through 8 for the East and Western Conference. Hope you guys do enjoy this video. And yeah, let's get it started. These are my personal opinions. I'm sure you guys are going to think kind of on the same wavelength because for most of these teams it's pretty obvious, but there are some things you guys might differ with, and if you do, put it down in the comments below. Please drop a like, and if you're new, please subscribe. Thank you for all the support, and yeah, hope you guys do enjoy this video. Let's get it started. So we're here on the Eastern Conference. Yes, I have something covering it. I'm not just going to show you guys right off the bat. Who do you think I am? But I'm not going to be mean to you guys and start at 8 and work my way up. I will start at 1 for you guys. So my number 1 team I think will finish off this season in the Eastern Conference, Philadelphia 76ers. I have them finishing 59-23. Yes, the Bucks last year were the number 1 seed, and they were 60-22, my bad. Math is not my strong suit, guys. FYI. And I think they're going to go 59-23. The new addition of Al Horford, the drafting of Matisse Thybulle, Ben Simmons gets better. They traded for Josh Richardson, who's one of the best perimeter defenders in the league and can also shoot the ball pretty efficiently. Not great, but he's pretty good at it. If you're going to put him in the corner, shoot a 3. They re-signed Tobias Harris. Like I mentioned, they have Al Horford. Personally, from being a Celtics fan in my experience, I think he is one of the best defending centers for his size. I mean, he's 6'10", and they're going to be moving him to power forward, and he can shoot the lights out for his position, which is absolutely terrific. And then you have Joel Embiid, arguably the best center in the NBA. I think this team is going to be fantastic next year. They did lose J.J. Redick, T.J. McConnell, and obviously the biggest one, Jimmy Butler, but I don't really think they're going to miss too much of a beat. I really love Al Horford. I might put a little bit of too much respect on his name, but they also kept Tobias Harris, and that is really, really good for that team. Now, the second seed I have are the Milwaukee Bucks. I say they're going to finish with a 56-26 record. I think they do lose a little bit more games. Like I said, they went 60-22 last year just because they do lose Malcolm Brogdon. And you're going to say, Malcolm Brogdon's not a huge piece to this team. Well, in my opinion, I really do think he was a really big piece of this team. I mean, he is their best perimeter defender when he was on the team. He can also shoot the ball really, not really well, but in the corner, he'll make it every time. And he can shoot the ball pretty efficiently, but his perimeter defense and just his whole presence on the court on the defensive side of the ball, I think is going to hurt them a little bit. And they got Wesley Matthews instead, who's not bad, but he's more of just a scorer and it's not really going to help you out on the defensive side as much. And they still have Giannis, who's a beast. They still have Chris Middleton, who's a beast. They still have Eric Bledsoe, who's really, really solid. They still have Brook Lopez, who also is really, really good. But I just think they're not going to be as good as last year. I mean, a 56-26 record, come on. That's still amazing. I just think they're going to take a little bit of a hit by losing Malcolm Brogdon. And I think they're going to struggle a little bit more and not be as successful they were last year. Like I said, 56-26. Still fantastic. Now, my number 3 seed, my team, the Boston Celtics. You're saying they lose Kyrie, they lose Al Horford, they lose Marcus Morris, Terry Rozier, they get Kemba Walker, Enes Kanter, a bunch of rookies, and they're going to be better than they were last year. Yes, and here's why. Jason Tatum is going to get better. Jaylen Brown is going to get better. Kemba Walker is more of a facilitator than Kyrie Irving was. He's more of a leader than Kyrie Irving ever will be. And then Enes Kanter. Not a good replacement for Al Horford, but he'll get the job done. He's not as much of a threat from the outside at all as Al Horford is, but I think he'll get the job done. He's a fantastic low post scorer on the defensive side. He can run the floor really, really well, and I think this team's just going to be fit more well together than they did last year. Now, they don't have as much talent, but the young rookies, Grant Williams, Carson Edwards, if even a Tremont Waters plays, when Romeo Langford plays, this team looks really, really well set up for the future and right now, and I think they're going to get 3 more wins than they did last year, and I'm looking forward to what this team can do. My number 4 seed are the Brooklyn Nets. You're saying, how are the Brooklyn Nets going to be this bad? I think with Kevin Durant not there, and then we know the leadership power Kyrie has, not at all. I think they're not going to be as good as people think they're going to be. And here's why. Kyrie Irving is a very ball-dominant player. That's how he's going to play. Guys like Karis LeVert, Jarrett Allen, and Joe Harris are going to take a hit from that. Kind of like guys like Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown did, Marcus Smart. Guys like that, they took a hit in Boston. I think guys in Brooklyn are going to take a hit from that, and they're not going to be able to play at their potential. Spencer Dinwiddie, that's who I was thinking of. Spencer Dinwiddie, they're not going to be able to play as well as they did in past years. I think they're going to take a little bit of a hit from that. I think Brooklyn as a team is going to take a hit from that. Now, when Kevin Durant comes back, they're going to be a 60-win team. That's not what we're talking about, though. We're talking about next season. They're still going to be a good team. I think Kyrie Irving's going to hurt them a little bit this year. I could be wrong. He could work out very well with that team. I just can't see it, and that's why I have him at the 4 seed, which is still solid, going 48-34. Now, we have the Toronto Raptors at the 5th seed. They lose Kawhi, but other than that, their team's relatively the same. They still have Kyle Lowry, who's, I think, in my eyes, I put a lot more respect on his name. He's boosted his way up in my point guard rating, in my opinion. They still have a great young talent in Pascal Siakam. They still have Fred VanVleet, Serge Ibaka. They still have a lot of good guys on that squad that I think are going to get them to 47 wins and only 35 losses. They're not going to be as good as last year. I think they had 59, 58 wins. They're going to take a little bit of a hit. But last year, Kawhi Leonard missed 20 games. So that's why I think this team's still going to be successful, because they have relatively the same team. No Kawhi Leonard. They're still, like I said, they're going to lose more games, not win as many. But I think they're still going to be a very, very solid seed. Now, my 6th seed, in my opinion, has to go to the Detroit Pistons. They pick up D Rose, who I think is a fantastic pickup. They have Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond. That's their core right there. They also have Reggie Jackson, what I'm not sure what they're going to do with him, if he's going to start, or maybe they put D Rose at the shooting guard. I don't know what they're going to do. One of those guys is either going to come off the bench or play at shooting guard. They also have Luke Kennard, who can be a shooting guard / small forward. Fantastic perimeter defender. This team, I'm looking forward to what they can do. They also drafted Sekou Doumbouya. Looks like a promising young talent. Maybe never a star, superstar in this league, but I can't predict that now. I got to see him play. But coming into the league right now, I think he can be a solid role player for this team. They still have Thon Maker, who's a solid center off the bench. I think this team is going to be better than they were last year. They're only going to be the 6th seed because the East is a lot tougher this year. But at the end of the day, I say they're going to go 46-36 and still have a pretty successful season. Now, my 7th seed, this is where I put the Miami Heat. I think the acquisition of Jimmy Butler is not going to be as good as most people think it's going to be. In my personal opinion, Jimmy Butler is more of a second option as a star on a team. When he was the first option in Chicago, it didn't work. When he was the first option on Minnesota, it didn't work. Last year, he was like the first, maybe second option. I'm not really sure if you want to call Joel Embiid the first option or Ben Simmons. We'll just say he was pretty much the first option. That also didn't really work. So, going off what I just said, him being the ultra first option, everybody around him is pretty much just solid or a little bit above average. Goran Dragic above average. Justice Winslow, pretty much average. Bam Adebayo is a little bit below average, but he's still wicked young. A lot of guys on that team. Kelly Olynyk about average. I think this team's going to struggle. I think they're still going to make the playoffs because they still have Jimmy Butler. Jimmy buckets. He's going to get buckets. I just don't think this team's going to be as successful as most people have them down on paper. Now, if they trade for Chris Paul, but I'm hearing Chris Paul is going to start the season off with Thunder. If they do get Chris Paul, I'd probably boost them up to around the 5th, 4th seed. But they don't, and this is what I have them seeded at right now. Now, my 8th seed goes to the Indiana Pacers. Probably a lot of Pacers fans were wondering where were they going to be on this list. Last year, they were the 5th seed. Boston was the 4th seed. We beat you guys in the playoffs. We don't know when Victor Oladipo will be back. We're hearing he'll be back in December, and if he does come back and he's not the same player, this team's going to take a hit. Yes, they do have Malcolm Brogdon, but they lose Bogdanovic, who was their best player in the playoffs last year. They lose Tyreek Evans for 2 years. He'll probably never come back to the team because he got suspended. Absolute idiot. I just don't think this team has enough talent right now to really make a huge playoff push. They still have Miles Turner and Domantas Sabonis. Those guys are really good young players. But other than that, they still have Malcolm Brogdon, blah, 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 blah. Other than that, I just don't really think they're going to be a fantastic team. That's why I have them at the 8th seed, because let's just say Victor Oladipo does come back, they're probably going to struggle at the beginning of the year. Victor Oladipo might carry them to the 8th, maybe 7th seed, but I put them at the 8th seed. Now, I do have 2 honorable mentions for the East, teams that possibly could make it. I wouldn't be surprised if they make it, and here they are. I put them at the 9th seed. We have the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic did make the playoffs last year. They were the 7th seed. I say they go 43-39 and possibly make the playoffs. I think they get a little bit better than last year, but honestly, their young talent, they're going to get a little bit better and better every year. And I don't think it's their year to really make much of a push in the playoffs. I think they do take a little bit of a step back, like I said, with teams like Miami getting better, Detroit getting better. Toronto does get worse, but they're still going to be fine. Brooklyn gets a lot better. Boston, relatively the same in my opinion. Milwaukee stays pretty much the same. And Philadelphia gets pretty much the same. So I think there's only a few teams that do get better, but I think Orlando's going to get the back brunt of that and get knocked out of the playoffs. And then my final team here in the East, I do say the Atlanta Hawks finished 40-42. Yes, it's a losing record, but last year they went 29-52, and I do think they have a chance of making the playoffs. The young core of Trae Young, John Collins, Kevin Huerter, Cam Reddish, Jackson Hayes. No, not Jackson. Jackson Hayes went to New Orleans. Never mind, not Jackson Hayes. I think he was on the team, but they traded him at draft night. But I just think this team has the potential to be great in the future, and I think this year they have the potential of winning 11 more games than they did last year and possibly making the playoffs. Now let's go to the Western Conference. Before I get started with the West, I just want to say these Western Conference teams are absolutely disgusting in a very good way. My first seed going into the 2020 NBA playoffs has to go to the LA Clippers. I say they finished 60-22. Now I kind of used the stat that Kawhi Leonard missed 20 games last year, so I'm going to kind of put that into perspective, or kind of implement, that's a better word, implement that into my opinion for this record. Now, if Kawhi Leonard played every game, I say they get somewhere near 65 wins, but he's not going to, because he sat out last year just for some rest, and Paul George is still going to be fantastic. They still got P. Bev, Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell, Zubac, Shamet. They still have a very good team, and Kawhi Leonard is going to play most of the games. Knock on wood, hopefully no one gets hurt. So I say they go 60-22 and finish with the best record in the Western Conference. Personally, I think they're the best duo in the NBA, and I see absolutely no weakness in either of their games combined on the LA Clippers. My second seed going into next year's playoffs goes to the Denver Nuggets. Now, you're going to say, well, they didn't really make many moves in this offseason. No, but Jamal Murray proved in the playoffs last year he's going to be a fantastic point guard for years to come. We already know what Jokic can do. They have Gary Harris, Will Barton, Paul Millsap, who's old, a vet, but he can still play basketball very efficiently. I think this team has a chance to make a good run in the playoffs, and I put them at the second seed. And they're such a well-coached team in all areas of the game. Mike Malone knows what he's doing in Denver, and they have a good young core that's ready to win now, and also some young guys like Michael Porter Jr., who's going to be back this year, who are going to be winning with him and Jokic and Jamal Murray for years to come. And I can't wait to see what this team does this year and for years to come. Now, my third seed in the West, this might be a surprise to some. We have the Utah Jazz. Personally, I think the pickup of Mike Conley and Bogdanovich is going to be bigger than anybody sees it. Mike Conley deserves to be on a winning team, and he has it here, being surrounded by really good talent, like a rising superstar with Donovan Mitchell, a star right now with Rudy Gobert, a really good player with Bogdanovich, and a really good shooter with Joe Ingles, I think, and perimeter defender. I'll give you your credit, Joe Ingles. I think this team has the potential to be even better than the third seed. But with the other talent in the West, I did put them at the third seed, going 55-27. This might be a little bit of a bold prediction in the minds of some, but for me, I'm really confident this team, if they gel together and play the way they're capable of playing on the roster they have on paper, I think the sky's the limit for this team, and I think they can make a really, really, really good run for the championship. Now, my fourth seed going into next year's playoffs, that's where I put LeBron, AD, and the Lakers. I just think, and DeMarcus Cousins, I keep forgetting he's on the team. I just think the overall not having the best depth. Yes, they did sign Avery Bradley. They did keep JaVale McGee. They did keep Rondo and KCP, but those guys aren't really amazing. Yes, LeBron and Wade and Bosh did kind of carry a bunch of bums. Sorry, Mario Chalmers. Sorry, Norris Cole. You guys weren't anything special. Sorry, Shane Battier. You were old when you won. I know LeBron and the Heat did it, but I just think this team's going to struggle more with all the better talent in the West and in the East. Let's just say the LA Lakers make it to the NBA Finals. I just think it's going to hit them in the butt, bite them in the butt. And LeBron and AD, they're still going to have a fantastic season, going 53-29. They only won 37 games last year, the Lakers. So I'm not saying they're going to be bad. I just don't see them getting more than 53 wins. Originally, I did have them getting 30 losses, but I was like, you know what? I think they're capable of getting one more win. So I put them at 53 and 29, the 4th seed. I don't really have the most confidence in this squad. Now, my 5th seed going into next year's playoffs in the West, that's where I put my boy, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and the Houston Rockets. They still got Eric Gordon. They still got Clint Capella, Jared Green. Did they re-sign Kenneth Reed? I think they might have. I think they still have Kenneth Reed, who's going to come off the bench and be a fantastic bench player. I just really love this squad. The only reason why I have them going 51 and 31 and not better, I think I mentioned this in the video I made about Russell Westbrook when he got traded. I think him and Harden are going to take at least a month to get completely acclimated and used to each other because they're both super ball dominant players. They both have the highest usage rates of all time. I do believe in Mike D'Antoni to figure out the scheme and have one the prime ball handler and one the shooter / facilitator, or, you know, switch it up whenever you want. I do believe Mike D'Antoni and the Houston Rockets will figure it out. I just think it's going to take a month for those guys mentally just to get used to that whole not having the ball in my hand and scoring at will. Now, my 6th seed going into next year's playoff in the West, that's where I put the Golden State Warriors. They do not have Klay Thompson next year, but I think they did really well with signing. Well, Klay Thompson might come back to the playoffs. We'll see. I'm just going to say he's not going to be in it. It's definitely not going to change the record because he probably won't be playing during the regular season. But they did sign D'Angelo Russell, which was a surprise, but it's definitely going to work in their favor. And they did sign Willie Cauley-Stein, who's a solid young center. I mean, I think he has more potential than what people are giving him. I just don't think he'll reach it based off I've heard he doesn't have the best work ethic. That's just some things I've read. Do I know if it's true? Absolutely not. Do I know Willie Cauley-Stein? Nope. Those are just things I've heard, and, you know, I listen to it. So maybe that's true about Willie Cauley-Stein. I don't know. But besides that, they still have a solid team. They still have Alfonso McKinney to come off the bench. He's okay. They still got Jacob Evans. I'm not really sure who their backup point guard's going to be because Quinn Cook's out with the Lakers. They did get rid of Sean Livingston. But I'm not really too worried. I think they're still going to get 50 wins. They still got the best point guard in the NBA. I haven't even mentioned him yet, Stephen Curry. I think they're going to be fine. Do I think they're going to make a huge run in the playoffs? Absolutely freaking not. But I think they're still going to be a relatively competitive team, giving them 50 wins and only 32 losses. Now, my 7th seed going into next year's playoffs in the West goes to the Portland Trailblazers, who I just gave the same record to, because those teams in my mind, with Klay Thompson out, KD gone, DeMarcus Cousins gone, I think those teams are very evenly matched. But I just think Golden State has more of an edge when it comes to winning games and just like a whole just playoff and championship background that has given them the edge at the 6th seed. It could be vice versa. But Portland, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, if Nurkic comes back, which I'm not sure if he will, you know, his bone did pop out of his skin. Pretty nasty. And they still got really good young core pieces like Afrani Simmons, however you say his name, who absolutely killed it in Summer League. And also solid pieces around them like Caleb Swanigan. I just think they have a solid team. Is he even on the team anymore? I'm pretty sure Swanigan's still on the team. They still have a really solid core. And I think they're definitely not going to be as good as last year because, like I said, all those teams above them have gotten better. But I think they're still going to be the 7th seed, and they're going to have 50 wins. That's why I said the West is nuts. The 7th seed has 50 wins. When has that ever been done? Now, my 8th seed going into next year's playoffs, no, it's not the New Orleans Pelicans like Jalen Rose predicted. It is the San Antonio Spurs. I said they're going to have the same record they did last year. They're going to go 48 and 34. The reason why I have the Spurs here and not the Pelicans or other teams, I'll say, because I do have 2 teams that could make it, like I did with the East, is because they still got Pop, and they still have really good talent. DeJounte Murray's going to be back this year. He's a really good point guard. They still have DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge. They still have Brandon Forbes, Derek White. They still have a very solid team, but other teams got better than them, and I think it's going to push them back just to be the 8th seed. I don't think they're going to make much of a run, if any, but they're still a playoff team. I don't think Pop and the Spurs are going to let themselves miss the playoffs. Now, my 2 sleepers teams that could make the playoffs at the 9th seed, I put the Dallas Mavericks. Luka and Kristaps, Tim Hardaway Jr., Jalen Brunson, other good pieces. That team, I think, could make the playoffs. I just couldn't give them the edge over anybody in the playoffs. I did put but I would not be surprised if they do. I still can go 45-37. That's just the record I put there. And then the 10th seed going into the playoffs, I have the Sacramento Kings. Now, the Sacramento Kings were the 9th seed last year. Going back to the point I made with Dallas, teams got better. The Sacramento Kings kind of stayed the same. They did resign Harrison Barnes. They still have really good young talent like Fox, Bagley. They did lose Willie Cauley-Stein, but he's not really needed there. They have Harry Giles if they want to put him at center, if they wanted to. They still have young talent, and they also have players for the now. I mean, I'm pretty sure they signed Trevor Ariza, which was a surprising pick, a surprising signing. But I think they're still a team that can be possibly competitive and make it to the 8th seed. But like I said, teams got better, and I don't think that's going to happen. It could. That's why I have them here. I wouldn't be surprised. But I just couldn't put them over San Antonio or like a Portland. Anyways, hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you have any other opinions, put it down in the comments below. And yeah, hope you guys did enjoy this video. Like always, peace.